For your listening enjoyment, John Lund as Johnny.
About 30 miles from Sault Ste. Marie.
Right up near Canada.
Yeah, that's right. His wife found him lying in the front room of the cabin, shot through the chest. The officer handling the case is Captain George Lane, Sault Ste. Marie Police. He'll be expecting you.
I'll leave in the morning. John Lund in another adventure of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous. Somewhat of a resort now, but very exclusive. People who go to the Snows have been coming up for years. They own homes on various islands, and we're all together a very respectable community. Alfred Chambers rented the Forester cabin. It's one of the islands furthermost from the mainland, about 2 miles, I'd say. He spent 3 days in the Snows, and then his wife arrived from Pittsburgh. Mr. Schoenberg's fellow has a boat rental service. Took her out to the island, and she found her husband lying in the living room, dead. Shot through the chest. Any suspects? Not a one. Mrs. Chambers told me she'd separated from her husband about a week before he'd come to the Snows, but she couldn't have killed him. Schoenberg was with her all the time. And according to the coroner, Chambers had been dead for about 14 hours. Until the investigation's cleared up, I've been making my headquarters at the hotel at the Snows. I just came in to get the coroner's report. I was going back this afternoon if you'd care some alone. Yeah, I'd like to. Any other homes on the island? Yeah, several. One about a half mile south, one on the other side of the island. This is where Mrs. Chambers found her husband. Mm-hmm. Lying on his face. The front door was open. He wasn't shot inside the cabin. He wasn't? If you didn't notice when we came in, there was some blood leading up the front steps. See? You can see the trails in here.